Moving on now to some more news coming in. This is a follow-up from the new EPFO rules, which allowed 100% withdrawal that came into the fore. Labour Ministry has now clarified that 25% minimum balance requirement is something that was contested, that there were questions that were raised on. The Labour Ministry has gone on to say that this is to ensure that a substantial amount is available with the PF account holder at the time of retirement. The Labour Ministry has gone on to say that these concerns are completely misleading of how much one can withdraw and how much one cannot. So a fact sheet, so to say, has been put out by the central government to bust all those myths or all those concerns that have been doing the rounds, especially on social media. Pallavi, I believe, is now with us on this broadcast, getting us more details. Pallavi, what more can you tell us? A, what is this clarification and what prompted the clarification in the first place?
So, Poonam, there has been a lot of attacks coming in from the opposition parties, and all of them have been accusing the government of selling out the money or the savings of, say, those who have lost their jobs or those who have saved the money and their salary as a part of the Provident Fund. There was one particular clause which talked about 25% of the money which is going to remain in your PF account, and that was being read by the opposition parties as shortchanging, which said that why can't you have access to 100% of your money in the Provident Fund? The government essentially and the Labour Ministry has given a rebuttal to that, a point-by-point rebuttal. One, the entire idea of a Provident Fund is that you are taken care of, one, when you don't have a job, second, when you have retired or when you're transitioning from one job to another. Now, if someone goes in and withdraws the entire money randomly on small issues, one, it may bring a break as far as the employment or new employment is concerned, because Poonam, there was a feeling among the Labour Ministry that many were actually misusing the facility of taking advance. This 25% is something which is going to take care of them. The second point on which there was a lot of politics was being done is that 100% of it, you have to wait for at least a year before you get the 100% of your PF. Government has clarified that is not really the case. You have to wait first for 2 months, but after the end of the year, you can get the entire 100%. So your money is safe with you. The entire reason for the 25% saving is as a kind of a social security scheme to ensure that in your old age or when you're not having a job, when there is an emergency, you are able to utilize this money till the last day. And also the big point over here is that there have been many subsections. Now it's easier for you to take advance, whatever may be the reason, whether it's an illness, whether it's a marriage, or even if you're trying to buy a house.
So those rules have been liberalized, so to say. Given that this is festival season, we are hoping, or at least the government is hoping, that this does put more money in the hands of the people. That will bring respite to middle class, low middle class especially, and of course will eventually spur the economy as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think the easing of the clauses, especially when it comes to people wanting to take advance in case of a marriage, in case they want to buy a house. Now, what happens is marriage, incurs expenditure, but it also adds on to the growth of the economy. People are going to buy jewelry, for that matter, electronics, cars or whatever. And as far as buying a house, that's a huge infrastructural investment. When you make that process easy, what you are also helping is to build up of the economy. The cyclical pattern of demand and supply is addressed. So it's a long-term goal. The government has clarified, the Labour Ministry has clarified very, very clearly that one, it is not that we are taking away your money, we are also ensuring a social security, but at the same time, we are also ensuring a ease of living so that your money can be accessed easily by you in terms of taking an advance.
Right, Pallavi, thank you so much for getting us that clarification and putting that in perspective for us. In fact, there were several claims that were made from opposition ranks about what the government really was trying to do and the intention behind liberalizing these EPFO withdrawal norms. But now the EPFO president has defended this decision of a mandate of a minimum 25% balance. It is called a prudent and balanced step to protect long-term retirement savings. In fact, CNBC TV 18's Timsi Jaipuria spoke with the Central Provident Fund Commissioner Ramesh Krishnamurthy. Listen in.
Government has now allowed members to withdraw up to 100% of their PF amount, covering both employee and employer's contribution. What are the conditions? What is the rationale behind this move, sir?
So, thank you for having me on this program. The Central Board of Trustees, headed by the Union Minister for Labour and Employment, Mr. Mansukh Mandavia, yesterday on 13th, took the decision to simplify partial withdrawal claims, which under EPF, to a great extent. Mostly because there were over 13 different conditions covering education, marriage, housing, and other special circumstances, which were complex in the sense that they had different eligibility criteria in terms of minimum service, in terms of how much people could withdraw. Sometimes it was a multiplier of their basic wage. Sometimes it was the amount of cost involved in purchase of a house, for example, or in terms of their balance, so either 50% or 75% of their balances. All this was creating a lot of confusion in the minds of the members. So what was felt was that let us make it easy for people to access their own PF money in times of financial need, but at the same time protect their PF for their long-term social security requirements. As you are aware, India is a young country, but all the youth who are going to retire, who are now coming into the work, are going to retire in 2055, 2060. So unless and until we plan for proper social security protection in times of their retirement, then they'll have less of a corpus to be available. So that is why a concept of a minimum balance of 25% was visualized, and that has been kept away as a minimum lock-in balance. Rest of the 75% is freely accessible up to, so if 100% of that is accessible by the member, and as I said, for illness 3 times a year, for education 10 times during the membership, for housing and marriage, including their own marriage for a youth or their children in future or for their siblings 5 times, and for their housing needs about 5 times. Apart from that, what we have done is that we have